Hi, in this video we'll be looking at a new feature that's been added to Wave 1 2021 of Business Central, which is the ability to edit dimension postings on general ledger entries. So here we are in the chart of accounts, and if I drill in and look at the transactions, in here we can see we've got some dimension entries already in here, and what I'm going to do is just take these few here, and then we will correct the dimensions to be 30 home medium on these transactions here. So if I just come into entry, we can come into the new function to correct dimensions, and in here I can give a reason, so I can basically post whatever I want to in here, so I can see this when I look back at the history, which I'll show in a moment. We can update any analysis views that dimensions are involved in on the fly, so we can now change whatever we have here. If you'd selected items with slightly different dimensions, it will show here as multiple ones that you've chosen here. We've got sales as well, but what we don't have in here is the dimension for business group. So we can come into there and we can add that in, and we can add home in there. So we can add dimensions, we can delete dimensions, we can do what we want to do within sort of this section here. So we can revert back to what the dimensions were if I changed one and I just need to revert back. So if I come onto customer group here, I'd accidentally change that one, didn't want to do that, I can just revert that back to what it was. I can then select which ones I want to apply the changes to down here. I can also come up to here. I can either validate and make sure the choices are going to be all correct, or I can just flat out run, and I can have this scheduled out if it's going to be a big job. If I'm making loads and loads of transactional changes, then you probably want to schedule this to outside of business hours. This is only a quick change here, so we can just see what's going on. I can come in, I can select run, and we are running on that. And if I just come out, come back in again to refresh up, and we can see that some of these have now been changed through into 30 home. If I now come into the entry and come into history of dimension corrections, we can see the corrections that have been done. That might have been one that I corrected earlier, but similar things into here, and we can see whatever corrections have been made within the system previously. So there's one incorrect dimension, so you can have a whole list of the corrections that are made in there. We can drill into here and see what corrections were made as well. You could also undo the changes as well if you needed to. So that's the new feature to do dimension corrections in Business Central Wave 1 2021.